Today, I'm sharing 8 unspoken rules in Sweden that every international should know. When I moved to Sweden 8 years ago, I thought I had done everything right. I'd done a lot of research about Sweden and convinced myself I knew exactly what to expect. But within my very first week, I had already broken several unwritten rules. I annoyed my corridor mates. I got cold looks on the bus, and I kept finding myself in awkward situations without understanding why. The strange part was that nobody ever told me I'd done anything wrong. That's because these aren't official rules you'll find anywhere. They're invisible social norms that almost every Swede understands instinctively, but most internationals only discover after making embarrassing mistakes. And if you're planning to move to Sweden, study here, or you've just arrived, knowing these unwritten rules can save you from a lot of awkward moments. If you're new here, my name is Eli. I moved to Sweden 8 years ago to study at Lund University. After graduating, I stayed, found a job, and have been living here ever since. On this channel, I share what it's really like to live in Sweden, the good, the challenging, and the lessons I've learned along the way, so you can settle in with fewer surprises. So, let's dive into the 8 unspoken rules every international should know before living in Sweden. The first unspoken rule in Sweden is being on time isn't just polite, it's a sign of respect. This was one of the first things I noticed after moving here. In many countries, being 5 or even 10 minutes late isn't a big deal. People expect it. But in Sweden, time is taken very seriously. Whether you're going to a job interview, attending a lecture, meeting a friend for fika, going on a date, or showing up for a hospital appointment, people expect you to arrive when you said you would. If you're consistently late, it can come across as disrespectful because it sends the message that your time is more important than everyone else's. Now, what does on time actually mean? For official appointments, like the hospital, appointments to the Swedish tax agency, or a job interview, plan to arrive 15 minutes early. That gives you enough time to check in, find the right place, and avoid feeling rushed. But if you're meeting someone socially or visiting a friend's home, don't show up 15 minutes early. In Sweden, people often plan their time carefully, so arriving too early can catch them off guard. Instead, aim to arrive right on time or just a minute or two early. One thing that really helped me was always planning for delays. If you're taking the bus or train, don't rely on the last possible departure. Take an earlier one whenever you can, so if there's a delay, you're still likely to arrive on time. The same applies if you're using a bike. If Google Maps says the ride takes 15 minutes, don't leave with only 15 minutes to spare. Give yourself extra time in case of roadworks, strong headwinds, or having to find somewhere to park your bike. This is something that honestly took me a while to get used to in Sweden. The silence. One thing you'll notice pretty quickly is that people in Sweden are generally very quiet in public. Whether you're on the bus, the train, in a waiting room, or standing in a queue, everyone tends to keep their voices down. It's just one of those unspoken rules. If you're on the bus and speaking loudly on the phone, chances are you'll get those classic Swedish looks that say everything without anyone saying a word. I remember when I first arrived in Sweden, I realized I had to change that pretty quickly. You know how we all have that one person who brings out our goofy side? The moment they call, we completely forget where we are. Before we know it, we're laughing, talking louder, and having the time of our lives. So what I started doing was waiting until I got home before calling those friends. That way, I didn't end up being the loudest person on the bus. And nowadays, it's even easier to forget because of your AirPods or headphones. Since you can't really hear yourself properly, you might think you're speaking normally when everyone around you can hear your entire conversation. And please, don't put your phone on loudspeaker in public. Trust me, nobody on that bus or anywhere else in public wants a front row seat to your conversation. So whenever you're in public, just be mindful of your surroundings and keep your voice down. It's a small adjustment, but it's one that shows respect for the people around you. Let's talk about grocery stores because there are a couple of unspoken rules here too. Whether you shop at ICA, Willys, Lidl, or Coop or anywhere else, the process is pretty much the same. You pick up your groceries, head to the checkout, and that's where you need to know what to do. One thing you'll notice is the little divider bar on the conveyor belt. Once you've put all your groceries on the belt, place the divider bar right after your last item. It's a simple way of telling the cashier, "These are my groceries, and that's the end of my shopping." It requires no effort, but it's one of those small things that's considered good etiquette here. And yes, you should be the one to place it, not the person behind you. The second thing is giving people their personal space. When someone is paying for their groceries, don't stand right behind them. Give them a little room to finish paying and move on before you step forward. I know it might not seem like a big deal, but standing too close can make people feel uncomfortable. Nobody wants to feel like someone is breathing down their neck while they're trying to pay. Just take a small step back, wait your turn, and once they're done, move forward. Here's another unspoken rule that catches a lot of people by surprise. When you visit someone's home in Sweden, the first thing you should do is to take off your shoes. You'll usually notice a pile of shoes by the front door, and that's your cue. Your shoes come off too. Now, I've heard different explanations for this. Some people say it's because of the snow, mud, and dirt that get tracked in during the colder months. Others say it's simply a sign of respect for the person's home. Whatever the reason, it's something you'll quickly get used to. And here's a little tip. When you're visiting someone in Sweden, make sure you're wearing a decent pair of socks, because there's a very good chance those shoes are coming off, and you definitely don't want to be walking around with socks that have holes in them. If you're ever unsure, don't just walk in with your shoes on. Simply ask. This one took me a while to understand. One thing I've realized about living in Sweden is that not everyone wakes up as happy and energetic as I do. I'm naturally the kind of person who's always smiling, always saying hello, and always ready for a conversation. But I've learned that not everyone is in that mood all the time, and that's completely okay. In Sweden, people generally value their personal space, so when you see a colleague, a classmate, or even a neighbor, don't feel like you have to stop and start a conversation every single time. A good rule of thumb is to read the situation. If they make eye contact, smile, or greet you first, great. Say hello and have a chat. But if they're looking straight ahead, seem busy, or avoid eye contact, don't take it personally. It doesn't mean they don't like you. It could simply mean they're on their way somewhere, thinking about something, or they just don't feel like talking at that moment. I remember finding this a bit confusing at first because someone could be really friendly one day and the next day they'd walk past without saying much. At first I thought, did I do something wrong? But then I realized, that's just normal here. It isn't personal. People simply don't feel the need to chat every time they see someone. Now, of course, it's different with close friends. When I see my close friends, I'll walk over, say hello, and we'll have a conversation. But with everyone else, I've learned not to force an interaction. If it happens naturally, great. If it doesn't, that's perfectly normal too. Before we move on to the next one, if you're enjoying the video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel. And while you're down there, let me know in the comments. Which of these unspoken rules has surprised you the most so far? This one can be a bit of a culture shock, especially if you come from a country where it's completely normal to visit friends or family without much notice. Back home, someone might call and say, "I'm in your area, so I thought I'd stop by." Or they might just knock on your door to say hello. In Sweden, it's very different. People generally don't just show up at someone else's home unannounced. Visits are usually planned in advance. You agree on a day, a time, and then you show up at that agreed time. It shows that you respect other people's time, their privacy, and the fact that they may already have plans. I actually learned this lesson the embarrassing way. I once arranged to visit a friend, and I thought we'd agreed on the date and time. Turns out, we hadn't. I showed up at their door, only to realize we were never actually on the same page. It was awkward, and I can still remember how embarrassed I felt. So if you want to visit someone in Sweden, send them a message first, agree on a day and a time, and make sure you've both confirmed it before you head over. This is one of those little things that caught me by surprise when I first moved to Sweden. One thing you'll notice is that many Swedes end their text messages with their name, even when they're texting someone they already know. Sometimes they'll simply put a slash followed by their name. Other times you'll see MVH, which stands for Med vänliga hälsningar, meaning kind regards. At first, I thought it was a bit unusual, especially when you're texting someone who already knows you and has your number. But over time, I realized it's simply a digital sign-off that comes across as polite and friendly. So if you're living in Sweden, don't be surprised if people do this, and feel free to do the same. It's the same with phone calls. When you call someone, don't be surprised if the first thing you hear is the person's name instead of just, "Hello?" It's a simple way of letting you know you've reached the right person. So remember, when you're sending a text message, consider ending it with your name. And the next time someone calls you, try answering with your name instead of just saying, "Hello?" Here's one of my favorite unspoken rules in Sweden. If someone sneezes, you say "Prosit," which is the same as saying "bless you." It doesn't matter whether it's a friend, a colleague, or even a complete stranger. If someone sneezes, chances are you'll hear someone say "Prosit," and the person who sneezed will usually reply with "tack," meaning thank you. It's polite, it's automatic, and it's one of the few moments where Swedes will happily acknowledge a stranger without thinking twice. I've lived here for so long now that I've picked up the habit myself. Whenever I hear someone sneeze, "Prosit" just comes out automatically. In fact, it now feels strange when nobody says that when someone sneezes. So let me leave you with this. Moving to Sweden isn't just about learning Swedish, it's about learning a different way of thinking. It's understanding that arriving on time is a way of showing respect, that giving people space in a queue makes them feel comfortable, that taking your shoes off shows respect for someone's home, and that something as small as saying "Prosit" can make a stranger smile. None of these things are written down anywhere, but they're the little social cues that help you understand the culture, avoid awkward situations, and settle into life in Sweden much more easily. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these unspoken rules surprised you the most? Or is there one I didn't mention that you've experienced yourself? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more honest conversations about life in Sweden. The good, the bad, and the downright frustrating. Thanks so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.